Hi, my name is Steve Bruno. Welcome to the Intervention Channel. Today's subject is called I call it the Confession. That's actually the title in my book, the chapter where I address this subject. I have touched on it in other videos, so I'm being a little redundant, but it deserves its own video, at least a few minutes on this. It is the greatest myth, the most damaging misconception, the most counterproductive agenda that a family can take on, which is to try and get their loved one to admit he has a problem, right? This is something that it confounds me that there are no statistics to show that people who go into treatment under duress or from an intervention or in denial do worse than anyone else. There are no statistics to show that. If anyone tells you, well, if he doesn't admit to having a problem, then treatment won't work. Where is he getting his data? Even if it's from a book, where is that person getting their data? Are they just spouting off something that they heard from some other professional? Because I'll tell you something. I am an example of going into treatment with bells on, my meditation book ready to go into the thing, willing to go, and I crashed again and again and again and again. When I went in my 7th time, my family literally had to do an intervention. They had to hire somebody. It took them 2 weeks to crowbar me in there. I wasn't admitting to shit to anyone. I really didn't see the point. And that's the program that worked. I am an example of this. And I am an in the trenches, front lines interventionist. I deal with the most complicated, fucked up situations you can possibly imagine. And I'm sure if you're here visiting, you don't have to imagine. And I've never, ever, from my very first intervention, which I write about in a chapter called Into the Lion's Den, when the mother came to me and she said, "How are you going to get David to admit he has a problem?" Well, why the fuck would I do that? Well, that's just a big mess with no upside. I mean, think about it. Think about this. How many people in recovery do you know or know of who attribute their success to what they admitted to their mother before they even went into the program? Right? I know the answer. None. Because it's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. I'll ask that again. How many people in treatment attribute their success? They say, "Oh, well, thank God I admitted things to my mother. If I hadn't admitted it to my mother, none of this would have worked." Please, that's inane. Right? So I'm not trying to be condescending. I'm just frustrated. It is confounding to me. As I said, it is confusing to me. However, I've put a lot of thought into this, and I think that it probably came from one of a couple of sources way, way back. Probably somebody went to an AA meeting or an Al-Anon meeting, whatever. They saw the 12 steps, the first step being admitted we were powerless. And the person reading it probably looked at it and said, "Oh, admitted it. Oh, admitted it. Well, he has to admit it to me." And that was added in. That was edited in. It was dubbed in. That admitted it means admitted it to my mother. Well, if you can find that in the big book of 12 steps or any other valid intervention theory, valid, workable intervention theory, let me know. And I'll do my research. But I've only done 400 plus interventions over the past 20 years. I only get people in at a 95% success rate, and I only observe that they do quite well. Why? Because the program is worth its salt. If the program that you're getting the person in is worth its salt, you can call them up and ask, well, what if he's in denial? You know what they're going to tell you? Fine, bring him. We deal with that all the time. I was in treatment 7 times. You know how many people I observed coming in denial, railing against their families? I'm not the one with the problem. My mom's the one with the problem. It's not as bad as they think. The only reason I'm here is because they're making me come. I see it all the time. And within a couple of weeks, maybe a few weeks, happened to me, that same person is calling their parents, calling their loved one, calling their spouse, whomever, and they say invariably, "Thank you for getting me in here. I really had my head up my ass. I don't know what I was doing." So I don't want to spend an inordinate amount of time on this, but I did want to spend some time addressing this. You can read more about it in my book in a chapter called The Confession, and there's a really, really rocky but very educational story in there called Into the Lion's Den. And if you want to ask questions of me, you can go to my website, stevebruno.com. You can ask them in the comments if you'd like the answer to be seen by other viewers of this channel. You can text me, you can write to me, you can call me. Consultations are always free as long as I have time. And okay, and definitely watch the next video, whatever it is. If you're here watching this, then you've got trouble on your hands and you need some education, and that's why this channel exists. If you're a professional or if you're a loved one, a family member of an addicted loved one, you can click the subscribe button. This is a fairly substantive channel, and I add more videos all the time. And that's it on that subject, on the confession. Don't worry about it. If you don't, just forget it. Getting the person to admit anything. If he's in denial completely, you don't have to agree with him, but acknowledge him. Say, okay, I understand. You know, as long as he gets his bags packed, his underwear in there, gets some toiletries, you know, whatever, tennis shoes, flip-flops, and arrives at the friggin' program, that is the only thing that matters. With enough willingness to start, even if he's railing against you, it's fine. Okay. Thank you for watching the Intervention channel. I'm Steve Bruno, and you'll see me on the next video.